He was just the quiet neighbor next door, until the day he looked at me like he already knew all my secrets. A forbidden romance, filled with loaded silences, accidental touches, and a love no one believed should happen. But what if the thing everyone calls a mistake is exactly what ends up saving you? If you love stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on the notification bell. I never paid much attention to the man who lived next door. Not until that one summer evening when the cicadas were loud, the air was thick with dust, and he was bent over the engine of a truck, shirtless, grease smudging his arms like war paint. His name was Jake Carter. Mid to late 30s, maybe older. Quiet. Always fixing something in that old red barn-like garage. Always keeping to himself. The town folks called him Jake, the ghost mechanic. He only came into town when absolutely necessary and barely spoke more than a few words. And then there was me, Emily Walsh, 21 years old, freshly back from college, still not sure what the hell to do with my life. My parents' farmhouse felt smaller now, the whole town did. The only thing that felt different was Jake. I should have never walked over there that night, but I did. I saw him out there again the next afternoon, the sun burning hard against his back, while he bent under the hood of that same rusty pickup. Something in me sparked. Maybe boredom, maybe curiosity, maybe something deeper I didn't want to name yet. I poured 2 glasses of lemonade, and I crossed the fence. He didn't hear me at first. The low hum of a country radio playing inside the garage. I hesitated by the door, watching his broad back tense as he tightened a bolt. "Thirsty?" I said, raising one of the glasses. He turned slowly. His eyes, dark, unreadable, swept over me like a silent warning, but he didn't speak. Just wiped his hands on a rag and stepped closer. His hand brushed mine when he took the glass. Rough skin, warm fingers. I swear my breath caught. "Thanks," he said. Just that. One word. Deep and low like thunder on the horizon. I leaned against the garage wall, pretending not to be nervous. "You're always out here. Don't you get tired of fixing things that don't want to be fixed?" He took a sip, eyes still on me. Some things are worth the patience. There it was, that quiet fire in his voice. Not flirtation exactly. Something darker, something cautious. Like he'd built walls so thick even he didn't know how to climb out of them. "What about you?" he asked suddenly. "Shouldn't you be in school?" I shrugged. Graduated, sort of. Came back to figure things out. His eyes lingered on me a second too long. "You're different now." My heart stumbled in my chest. "You noticed?" Hard not to. For a few seconds we stood there, 2 people from opposite worlds, breathing the same hot air, sipping lemonade like it wasn't laced with unspoken things. Then he turned back to the engine. That was supposed to be the end. But I didn't leave. Lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about the way he looked at me. Not hungry, not sweet, just conflicted. Like something inside him was begging for control. It wasn't just a crush. It wasn't some silly summer fascination. It felt inevitable. I started to notice him everywhere, mowing his lawn shirtless, smoking on the porch late at night, the way his jaw clenched when he caught me watching him from my window. Sometimes I caught him watching me too. The silence between us thickened day by day, until it finally cracked. It was raining. One of those loud, sudden southern summer storms that turn the sky purple and fill the air with electricity. I ran to close the barn windows when I saw movement from the corner of my eye. Jake. Outside, soaked. His truck hood open, tools scattered. I don't know what possessed me, but I grabbed my raincoat and ran across the yard. "Jake!" I called out, already drenched. "You're gonna get struck by lightning." He looked up, hair wet, shirt clinging to his chest. "I've seen worse," he muttered. "Let me help." "I don't need help." His voice wasn't cold. It was scared. I stood there, heart pounding under the weight of his eyes. Then maybe I do. That did it. He dropped the wrench and stepped toward me. Not fast, not angry, just deliberate. We were only inches apart when he whispered, "You shouldn't be here." "I know," I breathed. Lightning flashed, thunder cracked, and then his lips were on mine. It was the kind of kiss that ruined every kiss that came before it. It wasn't soft, it wasn't sweet. It was desperate, starved. Years of loneliness bleeding into a single stolen moment. When he pulled back, both of us gasping, he stared at me like he wished he could take it back. "I can't," he whispered. "I'm not good for you, Emily. Let me decide that." He looked at me for what felt like forever, and then he walked away. He didn't speak to me for 3 days. Not a word, not a glance. The truck stayed untouched. The garage door closed. I'd wake up hoping to see him out there, shirtless and sweating under the sun. But nothing. Just silence. And every time I passed by the fence, I felt it. The weight of what had happened. The kiss. The pull. The way his hands had gripped my waist, like he was holding onto the last shred of sanity. He had kissed me like a man drowning. And then he disappeared. I hated how much I missed him. I hated that I could still taste him. I was in the kitchen when I heard the sound of a lawnmower. I rushed to the window like a fool. Jake was back. His expression was unreadable, his movements mechanical. But he was there, breathing the same air, just across the fence again. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked out, barefoot, ignoring the gravel under my feet, and stopped by the edge of his yard. He killed the engine and turned, his face already shadowed with regret. "You're ignoring me," I said, voice low. "I'm protecting you." "From what?" "From me." There was a pause. The wind blew gently, rustling the cornfields beyond the property line. And then, I said what had been sitting in my throat since that stormy night. "I don't want to be protected." His jaw tightened. He looked away, then back at me with eyes full of heat and guilt. "You think this is some movie romance, Emily? You're 21. I'm 38. He blinked. "You know?" I looked it up. Jake ran a hand through his hair. "That's a 17-year gap." "I know." "You're my neighbor." "I know." "I kissed you. I kissed you back." His shoulders dropped, defeated. "God damn it." And just like that, the distance between us snapped. He walked toward me slowly, every step heavy, conflicted. I didn't move. I wanted him too badly to flinch. When he stopped a breath away, I tilted my face up to him. "You gonna do it again?" "I shouldn't." "That's not a no." A storm brewed in his eyes, but it wasn't thunder this time. It was surrender. Then he kissed me again. This one was different. Not frantic. Not desperate. It was slow. Deliberate. Like he was memorizing the taste of a choice he couldn't unmake. When our lips parted, his forehead rested against mine. "I'm scared," he whispered. "I'm not," I said. And maybe that was the first lie I told him. He didn't ask me to come over. But when the lights in his garage turned off, and I saw him standing in the window of his bedroom, I knew. I grabbed my hoodie and crept out through the back door. The door wasn't locked. The hallway smelled like sawdust and old leather. And when I stepped into his room, he was waiting, back turned, hands in his pockets, like he didn't know what to say. "I shouldn't have let you in," he murmured. "Then tell me to leave." Silence. I took a step closer. He didn't move. "You don't scare me, Jake." "You should." Another step. "You've built these walls around yourself like you think they'll protect people. But I'm not looking for safety. I'm looking for something real." Then I touched him. My fingers slid around his waist, and I leaned my cheek against his back. He stood there, still as stone, for what felt like an eternity. And then he turned. His arms wrapped around me, and we just stood there, clinging to something that felt dangerous and right all at once, like we were daring the world to stop us. "I can't promise you anything," he said. "Then don't. But I need you to understand. I've been hurt. I've hurt people. I'm not asking for perfect. He pressed his lips to my forehead, and I knew we had just crossed a line we couldn't uncross. It started with silence. Not the cold kind, the heavy kind. The kind that lingers in the room even after you've stopped touching, where breathing feels louder than words. After that night, I didn't go back home. Jake didn't ask me to stay, but he didn't ask me to leave either. We just lay there, side by side in that creaky bed, the fan spinning above us, pretending we weren't falling into something we couldn't name. I woke up to the sound of coffee brewing. The bed beside me was empty. For a second, I thought maybe I'd imagined everything, but then I walked into the kitchen and saw him. Jake, shirtless again, wearing nothing but low-hanging jeans, the curve of his spine catching the sunlight. He didn't look at me, just slid a mug across the counter. "You shouldn't have stayed," he said. I picked up the cup, sipped, and met his eyes. But I did. He sighed, running a hand through his messy hair. "We can't keep doing this. We've only done it once." Jake set down his own mug, hard. "You know what I mean, Emily." I crossed the kitchen, slowly, deliberately. I placed my hand on his bare chest, feeling the thud of his heart. It was racing. "You say one thing," I whispered, "but your body says another." He grabbed my wrist. Not rough, but firm. His eyes were molten, desperate. "You don't understand what this means. You think this is some summer fantasy. You're not the one who has to face this town afterward. I don't care what they say. I do." And there it was. Not fear of me, fear of the world around us, fear of judgment, of whispers in the grocery store, of looks from people who'd known him since he was 17 and thought they had the right to dictate who he could love. "I've already lost things because of people talking," he said, voice low. "Jobs, friends, my marriage." That made me pause. "You were married?" He nodded slowly. "Years ago. She couldn't handle this town, or me, or both." I let the silence sit. "You're not her," he added quietly. "But that's what scares me most." "Why?" "Because you could be something worse." That stung. But instead of backing away, I leaned in, my voice a whisper against his lips. Or I could be something better. His breath caught, and then he kissed me again. Harder this time. The heat. The kitchen counter. My hoodie slipping from my shoulders. His hands gripping my thighs like he was afraid I'd disappear if he didn't hold me tight enough. It was frantic, wild, the kind of passion that burns too bright to last. And still, it wasn't enough. We kept touching like we were trying to memorize each other in case the world tore us apart tomorrow. Afterward, I lay on the couch wrapped in a blanket, legs tangled with his, both of us staring at the ceiling like it held the answers. "You keep saying we shouldn't," I murmured, "but we always do." He didn't deny it. I came back home around sunset. My mom was on the porch, pretending to read a magazine. She didn't look up when I passed her, but she said, "He's not who you think he is." I froze. Jake Carter, he's quiet for a reason. People don't just disappear into garages unless they've got something to hide. My heart thudded. "What are you talking about?" She finally looked up, her eyes sharper than usual. "You're not a little girl anymore, but don't confuse rebellion with love." I walked away without answering. But the truth was, her words got to me. I didn't know Jake. Not fully. I knew his hands, his mouth, his silence. But what about his past? What else was he hiding? When I showed up at his place, he opened the door and saw it in my face. Doubt. "What did they say?" he asked quietly. "Nothing you haven't already told me," I said. But it wasn't true, because the seeds had been planted now. "You still want to be here?" he asked, stepping aside. "I don't know," I whispered. Jake nodded slowly. "That's fair." But I saw it. The flicker of pain he tried to hide. That was the problem with being with someone like him. He didn't beg. He didn't plead. He endured. Even my doubt. We didn't touch that night. Not even once. We just lay side by side, our backs almost touching, heat lingering but never crossing the line. And somewhere in the dark, I whispered, "I'm scared too." He reached for my hand and didn't let go. The air between us had shifted. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't warm either. It was waiting. Waiting for someone to say the thing neither of us wanted to admit. In the morning, he didn't kiss me. He just handed me coffee and said, "Want to go for a drive?" We didn't speak much. Jake drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the open window. The road stretched ahead, long and quiet, golden fields swaying with the wind. He finally pulled off near an abandoned church. Just bones now, broken windows, a leaning steeple, the kind of place that used to mean something. "This where you bring all the girls?" I tried to joke, but his face didn't move. "I haven't brought anyone here since I was 19. I followed him inside, dust swirling around us. "This is where I asked her to marry me," he said. My stomach twisted. Her name was Sarah. He sat on a broken pew, elbows on his knees, head bowed. And for the first time, I saw him without armor. She got pregnant. We thought we were ready. We weren't. I sat beside him, silent. "She miscarried," he said flatly. I changed after that. So did she. I became colder, detached. I started working more, talking less. Thought I was protecting her. I wasn't. His voice cracked. "She left me on a Sunday morning. Left a note on the kitchen table. Said she didn't recognize me anymore." I reached for his hand, but he didn't take it. "You still love her?" "No," he said quickly. "But I hate who I became because of her. What I let grief do to me. And sometimes I see it in myself still. That numbness." He finally looked at me. His eyes were raw. "I'm scared I'll turn into that man again." "You're not him anymore," I said softly. "You don't know that. But I see you, Jake. I see the way you fight to hold yourself back from feeling too much. And I'm telling you, that fight, it's already lost." He chuckled bitterly. "Yeah, I can tell." I slid my hand into his. This time he didn't pull away. Back at his house, something shifted again. This time when we touched, it wasn't frantic. It wasn't lust clawing at the surface. It was slow, intentional. He undressed me like he was peeling away every piece of fear I had left. I undressed him like I was tracing each scar on his body with reverence. "I don't want to break you," he whispered against my neck. "Then don't," I whispered back. "Just hold me together." The way he touched me that night was worship, not possession. Fingers trailing over my ribs like poetry. Mouth mapping a trail down my spine like he was reading verses no one else would ever be allowed to hear. It wasn't about sex. It was about presence. Being so completely in a moment that nothing else existed. No town, no past, no rules. Just us. Breath tangled, hearts bruised but still beating. Afterward, I lay on his chest, listening to the quiet rhythm of his breathing. He ran his fingers through my hair like it was a ritual. And in that darkness, he whispered something I never thought I'd hear from him. "I want to be better. Not just for you, for me." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "You already are." He didn't believe me. Not yet. But that didn't matter. Because I wasn't leaving. In small towns, you don't need to confess your sins. Someone else will do it for you. It started slow. Side eyes at the market. Conversations that stopped when I walked in. Then the whispers turned to words. "You hear about her and Jake Carter? Poor girl's got no sense. He's old enough to be her father." They didn't care that it was real. They didn't care that it wasn't a fling. All they saw was a scandal. My mom cornered me in the kitchen. "You're throwing your life away for a man who doesn't even know what to do with his own." I turned slowly. "You don't know him. I don't need to. I see the way you walk around here like you've got something to hide. You think people aren't talking? I don't care what they say. You will." Her voice cracked then. She wasn't just angry. She was scared. "I raised you better than this, Emily. He's damaged. He's dangerous." That word. Dangerous. She meant emotionally, but but it hit like a slap. "He makes me feel safe," I said quietly. She froze. That she didn't expect. "That man's been through hell," I added. "And maybe I have too. But I'd rather love someone with scars than someone who's good at pretending they don't bleed." Her silence told me everything. I had made my choice, and she didn't know how to forgive me for it. At Jake's, I told him about the whispers. His face darkened. "I should have known this would happen." "We didn't do anything wrong," I said. He laughed, hollow and sharp. "We did everything they warned you about. That's enough for them. Then let's leave." He blinked. "What?" "Just go. Get out of this place. Start over." But he shook his head, voice heavy. "Running won't change who I am." "Then what do we do?" He looked at me, really looked, and in that moment, I saw the storm behind his calm. The part of him that was still trying to figure out if he deserved happiness at all. "I don't know," he said. But he reached for my hand again and squeezed it like a lifeline. We fought. Not loud, not dramatic, but hard. Words we didn't mean. Fears we hadn't voiced. "You're ashamed," I said. "No, I'm terrified," he snapped. "Of loving someone who'll wake up one day and realize I was just a mistake she made at 21. I'm not a little girl, Jake. You're still figuring out who you are. And maybe I want you to be part of that." Silence. "I don't need you to be perfect," I whispered. "I just need you to stay." He didn't answer right away. But then he whispered back, "Then stop trying to fix me." And I broke a little. Because I wasn't trying to fix him. I was trying to keep him from falling apart. We didn't touch that night, but we didn't sleep apart either. He held me in silence, and it was somehow more intimate than all the nights before. The storm didn't come with thunder. It came with a letter, a white envelope left on Jake's porch. No name, no return address. Inside, typed in black ink, "She's too young for you. Walk away before you ruin her life." No signature. He showed it to me that night, and something broke in his eyes. "They won't stop, Emily," he said. "They won't let us be." I held the paper between my fingers, heart shaking. Not because of the words, but because he believed them. "They're cowards," I said. "Whoever wrote this. They're hiding behind paper because they're too scared to see what love really looks like." Jake stared at me. "I don't want you to spend your life defending me. Then give them something worth fighting for." He stepped closer, touched my cheek. "You already are." 1 week later, we stopped hiding. We went to the diner together, walked through town hand in hand. We made it known. And just like that, the rumors changed. Some people stared, some whispered, some smiled. The world didn't end, but something else did. He was waiting on the porch, suitcase by his side. "What's this?" I asked, already knowing. "I got a job offer," he said. "Upstate, big garage, better pay, clean slate." I folded my arms across my chest, trying not to fall apart. "So that's it? You just leave?" He stepped forward, eyes burning. "Emily, I love you." My breath hitched. "But I also know what this town can do to people. And you deserve to live without carrying the weight of everyone's opinions. You think I can't handle it? I know you can, but you shouldn't have to." I wanted to scream, to cry, to beg. Instead, I whispered, "Take me with you." He froze. I stepped into his arms. "I'm not choosing safety. I'm choosing you." His hands trembled against my waist. "I don't want you to regret me." "I won't." He kissed me, slow, deep, like a promise. And this time, it was. 3 years later, new town, new house, same man. Jake still fixes cars. I teach art at a local school. People still stare sometimes. They ask how we met. I always smile and say, "He lived next door." They never ask what happened after. And honestly, it's better that way. Because the best parts of our story weren't made for small-town gossip. They were made in the silence. In the nights where nothing made sense, but we still chose each other. Every single time.